Hello guys and welcome to our channel. This is WvW. In today's video I want to talk about the buffs and basically changes that came for Ranger in the latest balance patch, and also the preparation for the upcoming expansion and how they will affect our builds, or what did they actually change. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So the most I'm excited about is actually the changes to Shortbow. So Shortbow got changed to 3 of its skills, skill 2 and 4 and 5. Skill 2 basically got its cooldown reduced from 8 to 6 seconds in World vs. World and PvP. And if you're running light on your feet, this trait will make your Shortbow pierce, will lower the cooldown for 20% and enhance the Shortbow itself. So with the cooldown is lowered, it's now 4 seconds and 3 quarters only. Again, the same change for cooldown happened to concussion shot. Instead of 25 seconds, it's 20. With the trait, it's 16 seconds, but this skill is actually game-wide, so even in PvE, it's better to use with condition druid. Like if you know my build for condition druid, now you can do an extra CC or faster CC access with the vulnerability, Defiance bar break, and it will trigger Blood Moon for PvE gameplay also. And skill 4 finally got fixed. So since the release of Guild Wars 2, this skill for Oneshot show you a condition damage that's completely inaccurate, because it counts the damage since it's on your weapon skill. It calculates this damage and duration depending on your own stats, your own condition damage and condition duration. However, the effect is given to the bit, so the bit used to do it with its own condition damage and duration, which means it was very negligible and very weak, especially if you're running a power pit. But now finally this skill will use your own stats, since it's coming from your weapon, not the bit. The bit will deliver the attacks, will have its next 3 attacks applying bleed, but they will use your own stats. And also pay attention, the bleed number you see and duration is for a single stack, which means this entire damage happens 3 times. It's the same idea if you're running something like Sharpened Stone. When you have the tooltip here, it gives you the amount of damage for a single stack, but it gives you 10 stacks. The same idea, it gives you the damage for a single stack, but it's 3 stacks if your bit lands them. So the total damage for this skill is more than 9k in my build. Like if I'm running my normal food for condition damage and duration here, as you can see, it's higher than 3k for a single stack, and you can put 3. Obviously that will take a very long time to apply the damage to the enemy, but it became an actually effective damage, because it will force the enemy to actually cleanse it. That's for a single stack, and it can last for a very long time, as you can see. And if you have 3 stacks, as you can see, the damage is more than 400 per second for more than 20 seconds. Only 3 stacks from this skill. So it can do some significant damage now, and you can like tease the enemy in a long fight with it very easily. You can be kiting, switch your bit, ball the enemy toward you, and this will land the first hit, and the Iboga will immediately auto attack before the enemy even stun break for the second hit, and you can CC the enemy with skill 5, and at this time it's already landed 3 hits and you're doing your own damage, and simply start kiting a game. You keep forcing cooldowns even faster than yours, because enemy can't handle the amount of pressure. This should have been the case from the start, but I guess it's very good, because Shortbow for Ranger is very low damage. It used to be consistent and reliable form of applying damage on the auto attack itself. Even so, it's quite weak, and every other skill was not this reliable. In Ranger we count too much on utility and traits, like this skill doesn't have damage, but if you run in Blood Moon on a druid, then it will apply a single stack of Blood Moon. And if you're flanked, the same way in skill 4, and you go on like that. But this skill need you in melee. This skill have no damage tied to it, so there was not any form of serious damage coming from Shortbow itself. We used to count on utility, Sisti Avatar, merging with bit in beast form, whatever method to apply damage constantly. While if you compare us with any other condition form of the projectile, like Engineer, pistols like Shortbow and Renegade, anything else, you will see crazy numbers on almost every skill. So I guess it's decent now. It's still applied by the bit, even a dip bit will not do it, or if it's avoided or you dodge it. This doesn't really change your play style. It merely giving you a little bit of an edge or something that actually nicely better working. And the lower cooldown also make you access your skill faster and easier. So right now, in every rotation, almost whether you're moving from staff, whether you're moving from Celestia Avatar, you will always have at least most of your skills of cooldown. So if you're hitting the skill and then going with Celestia Avatar, for example, doing rotation, even without continue it, you find your skill already coming off cooldown immediately. 4 seconds and 3/4 of a second, while only to enter doing a rotation of skill 5 and 3 inside Celestia Avatars, that means this skill already off cooldown and you can immediately hit it again. So it even made the amount of pressure you can apply while switching weapon is more effective. The 16-second cooldown, while the extra damage coming from this, and this is almost always off cooldown, made the one-shot rotation, check the video if you missed it, make this rotation of constant pressure and CC, almost trying to keep your enemy permanent, even easier to access and higher damage because of the changes to Shortbow. And like I said, the changes to Shortbow also help a little bit because of the extra damage you will be applying from Crippling Shot now, and the lower cooldown from Concussion Shot will help a little bit on the pressure or damage that come in PvE for builds like Druid, Condition Druid, or any build that use actually Shortbow. Now that also get me to another thing. I wished if Dagger would have the same treatment. So as you see, Dagger will give the skill Double Arc, skill 2 on Dagger will give the bit 2 stacks of this poison. Remember, what you seen in damage is only 1 stack, but it's still calculated by the bit stats, not yours, so it's still very minor and useless damage unless you're merged with the Soulbeast, so you be the one who actually doing the poison. So I hope ArenaNet changes the same way they change the Shortbow. It's just consistent and more meaningful in skills anyway. Now that takes us to Untamed. The last change to Shortbow is actually the Unleash Ambush skill. It's now increased the amount of stacks it apply. It's 4 stacks of Poison and Torment and Weakness. There is no condition to applying them. You will always apply every stack. And they even made the cast of the skill is a little bit faster, so it's easier to use. And since every Unleash Ambush skill now is locked, it will not work with auto attack. So it makes Shortbow even better to use without really needing to change how the skill work. However, this is still lower damage than the X Torch or X Warhorn, depending on how you run it. And it's still a ranged weapon, so you would sacrifice the melee weapon if you lose the dagger, and it doesn't really offer this much damage. It will nerf you because you would have to run light on your feet if you want the maximum effectiveness of a Shortbow, which means we still run the same build. However, it's a little bit of an advantage if you're running something that actually use Shortbow like Condition Druid. So that was the most exciting changes for my roaming side of things, is that basically Shortbow is buffed, so our Druid build is buffed. Now that takes me to other exciting things for PvE, is lowering cooldown for stun breaks. Basically Quickening Zephyr, the skill I use for Condition Cleanse, stun break, and I have permanent quickness on Untamed in fight, but this is even out of fight, you can just cast it, it's just relaxing to use. And I really love accessing super speed. So this skill is now 20-second cooldown. And it's not the only one. Many stun breaks have changed like that. Lightning Reflexes is also 20-second cooldown. Even this skill became very good to use in open world now because it's constant healing signet, so it gives you a little bit of sustain if you need it depending on your build, and it's to remove all your condition to your bit. And again, it's 20-second cooldown, the same thing with Mutate Condition. Or remove all your condition, giving you boon, and it's 20-second cooldown. Also, Segment of Stone got reduced for 30 seconds only, and it gives you 4 seconds of take no damage from power sources. So that's really great depending on what kind of stun break you want. Some other stun breaks stay the same, like Protect Me, for example. Dual Stance is 25 seconds cooldown, and there's also 24-second cooldown for Glyph of Equality if you're running Druid. So not every stun break got changed. Those are the ones who got significantly reduced, and they are much better. 20 seconds, it gives you a breathing room of actually casting it even if you don't need to. That's why using something like Quickening Zephyr, if you don't have access to quickness normally in open world and solo gameplay, is very good even for damaging build. Now there is also some interesting changes. So the amount of damage you can apply with the Longbow in PvE have been increased, like by a lot. Skill 2 got a spark coefficient increase from 3.75 to 4.5, and the auto attack itself got increased also from 0.9 to 1.1 at minimum, and 1.1 to 1.25 at maximum for your basic damage. Again, with the trait Lead the Wind, it grants you the boons now, the quickness and swiftness when you use point blank shot, not when you hit target in a distance that's longer than 1200. And because of that, it's no longer possible to just get the quickness from any source in this range, like it used to be possible to get it underwater from harpoon gun actually, because a harpoon gun can hit from 1.5k, which means you could engage a lot of mobs, or even in competitive modes like World vs World and underwater fights. If you run this trait, you could access the quickness and the boons. Normally now it's only possible on Longbow with point blank shot. But does that make Longbow actually a good choice for PvE open world? I don't really think so, unless you want to play a lazy build that can sit back. It can really feed into the play style of resetting your skills and hitting again, resetting your skills and hitting again of the Untamed. So you cast your skills, you can access quickness with your skills, or even simply by casting a point blank shot, and it's almost alone permanent quickness because you can copy the boons from your bit. You can hit skill 2 for the damage, and once you land the Unleash Ambush, you shave off some cooldown of your skills. It takes 3 seconds from the cooldown with a hit, and 1 second for every additional hit. So if you're fighting even a single target, you remove 4 seconds of the cooldown. Now, a few other changes. Strength of the back increase the might duration that's applied in World vs World and PvP. This skill, basically, every hit you land while the effect of this skill on you will give might to your bit, and every hit your bit apply will give might to you. And this might now increase to 10 seconds, originally from 6. So it will keep the stacks a little bit longer. It will give good application for such a skill with a long cooldown of 1 minute. So it's quite decent, and it's not that easy to apply the might anyway, unless you're running a beast, because that means your bit need to apply those hits for order for you to get the might. However, it's easy for you to give those hits and then copy the boons back if you're running Go Heal as one. So in power builds, it's a little bit better, if you ask me, but it still have a short duration for the stability, because if you're running boon duration, the stability can be increased significantly. So she kept the stability the same of 6 seconds. The swiftness is only 12 seconds, and the fury. So it's decent skill, and I guess I got a little bit better. Spirit of Nature reduce the cooldown from 120 to 90 seconds in PvE, which is good for healing builds that can't access Glyphs of Stars, which basically healing Untamed only. But most of the time, if you run a support build that actually using it or trying to have revive, you run Glyphs of Stars on Druid. So the only build would run it would be healing Untamed probably. Some changes to bits. We already discussed this in the review of the patch. The Juvenile Aether Hunter got its slow and sluggish gameplay fixed a lot by the shaving of aftercast, and they enhanced a little bit of the damage, the hitbox, stuff like that. And they fixed some of the bugs and give us the visual effect to decay over time on the bit, the same way it's on the character. Now the last thing is a preparation to Janthir Wild actually. Stock, the Juvenile Jaguar skill is now give the bit stealth and give you stealth too, and it's on a 20-second cooldown in PvE and 35 in World vs World and PvP. So Ranger Spear count a lot on actually stealthing and landing the enhanced skills or enhanced effective skills from your spear. So you stealth with skill 5 on ammunition of 2, and any other skill you would access, like if you use a longbow and stealth with skill 3 and then switch weapon to spear. If you combo leap finishers or anything with a smoke skill field, if you use a Celestial Avatar, any form of stealth, once you gain stealth you will gain access to the enhanced spear skills. Skill from 2 to 5, they all get changed and added effectiveness. Now the Juvenile Stalker can become quite the meta bit, because it will give you an extra stealth immediately on a 20-second cooldown, while being one of the bits that actually do some decent damage. And PvE it's on a 20-second cooldown. And this skill have no radius, like not really. The bit can be as far as it is from you, and it will still giving you the stealth basically. So as you see, where's my bits going? It's so far from me. And once I press it, I stealth. As you see, I got stealth. It doesn't matter the distance between us. And it's instant. It will give both you and your bit stealth. It can be used even in competitive very well to stealth yourself and your bit and engage from it, like in World vs World roaming. and can be used, as we explained the survivability video for roaming, check the video if you missed it. It can be used for a survivability method, so someone hitting you and you're knocked down or in CC and you immediately still choose your bed, doesn't matter where it is as long as it is alive, so your enemy would miss your location, especially if it wanted to track you with a hit, like a mobility skill or something like that. The same trick that we used to use with Celestia Avatar. So I think it's a good change, but it's more into power builds that really would care for the spear or something like that, even in PvE. So for power builds, it is well good to have, but it will not change my roaming builds in any method, because we don't have this opening style. We don't really care for it. We simply always keep a sequence of CC and damage, and this is how we roll. So my bits are the same in my roaming droid, both versions, Longbow and Shortbow. So that's it for the video. Basically, it's easier to have stun breaks and more enjoyable in open world PvE, and some weapon got better. And for roaming droid, our Shortbow got a little bit of buff. That's it for the video. Ask any question if you want in the comments, and I'll be seeing you next time. Peace.